I call this meeting to order at 10:34 a.m. Sorry, I'm trying to find the land use statement. We acknowledge the land which we occupy as the traditional home of the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok tribal nations. These sovereign people have been the caretakers of this land since time immemorial. Despite centuries of genocide and occupation, the Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok continue as vibrant and resilient tribes and bands, both federally recognized and unrecognized. We take this opportunity to acknowledge the generations that have gone before, as well as the present-day Nisenan, Maidu, and Miwok people. Can someone volunteer to take roll call today?
Yes, I will do it. Acting Chair, Sydney.
Present.
Present. Vice President Espinosa.
Here.
Present. Legislative Analysis, Velarde Birch.
Present.
Present. Senator Ng.
Present.
Present. And K-Rep Mark Shepard.
Present.
Present. We have a few excused absence. President Burrows had a family emergency, and we had 2 senators with excused absence. So we have 5. Oh, I see. Perfect timing. Director of Legislative Affairs, Garcia.
Present.
Present. Okay, we have 6 members present, 6 out of 10, right? 9. 6 out of 9 is present. Quorum has been met.
Item 3, adoption of the agenda. That's just if there's any objections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any objections to adopting the agenda for February? With no objections, we move on to approval of the minutes. Any objections to the minute February 4th meeting? No objections. Item 5, chair's message. No message today. Item 6, advisor's message. Go ahead, Brett.
All righty. Hi, everyone. Thanks for your patience today. Shout out to Sydney for chairing the meeting today. I hope Stacy is doing okay. I know they had an emergency, and then we have a few folks out for personal reasons. So send them some positive vibes. Real quick, as you all know, the big return to campus is February 22nd. Sydney and I were chatting about that before the meeting started today. Some of you have either never been on campus or haven't been on campus in 2 years. That first day could be a little interesting. So some tips from your advisor here. You can park anywhere if you have a car, except handicap, right, or fire lanes, but there's no parking permits needed. Give yourself some time. There's gonna be a lot of people that have never been there before. So you can imagine people wandering, not knowing where to go, where to park, what to do. I was told yesterday there's gonna be food in the cafeteria. I don't know what kind of food. I don't know if you have to be vaccinated or cleared to go in the cafeteria like the other buildings on campus. I don't know if it's cash only or card only. I will try to find out before the 22nd, but I just want to tell you what I know on that. Obviously, you have to be vaccinated or cleared to enter a building or a classroom. I believe the bookstore is the only one that's not checking that, and that's their own entity. But your professor will have a list of who's vaccinated or cleared. So keep that in mind. There is testing on campus in the community rooms. I think it's community rooms 3 and 4. As long as you are a student, I believe you have access to that. As long as you're in current standing, I will triple check that. I know we're recording, so I want to make sure I'm right on that. Other than that, it should be fun. Hopefully, I can see some of you all that week. Club Day, February 24th. Today is the deadline for clubs to register. So Mark and I will be working on that soon. I know Sylvia is part of CABE with her club, so more to come on that. But February 24th, save the date. And then election paperwork will be available Monday, February 28th. So if you're thinking about joining this board again for next year, you want to fill out that Google form when it's present. So more to come on that as well. That our next meeting is on the 25th, as there's no school next Friday. So you can sleep in, relax, enjoy the holiday, the weekend. And then the last thing I'll say, I couldn't not address this. It's Super Bowl Sunday. So I'm going on the record. I'm being recorded here. I'm going to say the Bengals 27, the Lambs 24. So yes, I called them the Lambs because that's what this house calls the Lambs. So good luck to both teams. If you watch football, enjoy the game, hanging out with friends, family, be safe, stay healthy. And that's all I got. So Sydney, back to you. Thank you.
Item 7, public comment. This time it was reserved for members of the public to address ASB Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extended discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Senate may briefly respond to the statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact the ASB Senate President for the item of discussion to be placed on a future agenda. Any public comments? If there are no public comments, we'll move on to item 8, appointments and swearing in. This time will be reserved for the appointment and swearing in of current members to ASB Senate and/or committees. Did we have any of that today? Okay. No unfinished business, so we'll move on to item 10, new business. 10.1, home-based student feedback. ASB Senate Legislative Analysis. Angela Velarde Birch will lead a discussion pertaining to a recent agenda item from the Student Success Council.
I make a motion to discuss 10.1.
I second it.
Motion made and seconded. Angela, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, hi. So as I mentioned briefly during last week's meeting, the Student Success Council met on Tuesday the 1st. I was asked to perhaps bring back some feedback about the home bases from my fellow students. So I wanted to have a brief discussion about that today, if we could. There were a couple questions. That they wanted to me to address specifically. One of those questions was, or a few of those questions were, what home bases could or should be to the students? What are our experiences? And how can home bases be taken to the next level? So how can they better serve the students? Are there areas where we feel that they can improve? I thought this would be a good forum for that because I feel like between the 5 of us who are here, we cover a good number of the home bases here. So I thought that we could maybe discuss our home base experiences, what we feel like they could improve upon, and what our experiences have been with those. And I could start. So I know that, so my experience with the home bases, I wasn't placed into one right away. I ended up having a meeting with my counselor, with my academic counselor, and I was only placed in there after she had to put in a request to do that. So I know that that was like a little contrary to something that I know that they've been trying to do, which is to be an outreach situation or a hub for people who are in certain majors. That I had to specifically ask about it and be placed on it. Kind of, I felt defeated the purpose at the beginning there. But I also feel like it's been a really great hub for providing a lot of useful workshops and other things for mine. And I've also had access to, specific academic counselors for my major and that sort of thing. Was there anybody who wanted to share a little bit about their experience with home bases or anything that they wanted to improve upon?
Sure. I have a comment. Can you hear me?
Recognized. My apologies.
Yeah, I kind of was unsure what the home base was. I see it on my canvas, like in the top corner, and I never know what it's for. I just get like an announcements for things that were happening, but I haven't had the time to use it. So I wasn't really sure exactly what it was though first coming in. But I guess I'm glad I was enrolled. Some of those announcements have been useful and helpful. I just I'm not really familiar with what the home base is like. What is it? It's just workshops, or I just want to answer that.
Angie, do you think you could provide like a good definition of what the home bases do, what they're used for, something like that, just so everyone is on the same page as you?
Yeah, definitely. So the home bases, every major is placed into a specific home base. The way that has kind of been described to me is kind of like a hub or a network hub for support for students under certain majors. So for me, I am an English major and mine is languages and people. So it kind of creates a support network. There are peer mentors. There are also first year experience mentors who kind of help guide students through their first year here at ARC and all that comes with that. And there are also home-based coaches who can kind of, give you some additional advice on, routes to take or people to contact, that sort of thing. It's basically just like I said, a support network or a support hub for students under a certain major. You're placed into a home base depending on what your major is. And it kind of gives you access to counselors and those sorts of things that you need for success here at ARC, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks.
But knowing that you weren't really sure what it was for, that is actually really useful feedback in and of itself. So I appreciate that.
Does anyone else use the home-based networks?
Chair.
Recommend.
Yeah, so I've used the home base under the business one because my major is marketing. And I've noticed that home bases are a great resource for networking with like-minded students into the same major that they are in. So I think it was a very good and good idea for the home bases to be established on campus.
Thank you.
So one of the questions I was asked to address is what the home bases could or should be to the students. If there's anyone who feels like they could provide some feedback on that question, who has maybe home base experience or who doesn't really understand what the home bases are, but wants to see something, some kind of support network for them for their own major, that would be really useful feedback as well.
Chair.
Recognized.
A perspective from an advisor's point of view. So total bias, I work with the home bases. The department that I fall in is the same as home bases. But one of the things that like benefits this board is, everything's remote, virtual right now, so it's not quite the same as they're going to be or were intended to be with being on ground, right? Having those spaces to meet with staff, with faculty, peer mentors. But how it could affect this board is those relationships that you build with those home-based coaches, with those peer mentors, or the faculty, like I mentioned, to give students that kind of nudge, that push, that encouragement to join student government, right? So I think that's when I have those meetings with home-based coaches, that's why I'm always letting them know what you all are working on or what you're doing. I'm already in their ear about elections coming up. So it's kind of just another network for students that might not have a network, right? That might do I'm working full time, or I have kiddos, or I have jobs or family members to take care of. But it's that network for them so that they can get up to date on stuff, because this campus is so big that there's no way a student could possibly know everything that's going on, right? And so kind of a way just to help guide students through this guided pathways. So that's how it benefits this board and CAVE board, to encourage enrollment and participation. So just wanted to give you all that perspective.
Sure.
Recognized.
I realized why I didn't understand what my home base was now, because mine says home base for public health. And so I thought that it was like everyone's public health. I thought it was like an ARC hub for people's public health, and just I didn't know it was for the majors. So it sounds really great.
Well, that is also good feedback that you didn't, you didn't know what it was. You hadn't heard of the system before. Angie, you were just trying to get like just a general idea of what students thought of the system, right?
Yeah, so Jazzy's request to me was basically, they want the good, the bad, and the ugly is what they said to me. So if there were, any things that we really felt like home bases could improve on, like not knowing that they're specific to majors, for example, that is really great feedback, because, what we don't know about home bases can be just as useful to them. And what we, aren't told about the home bases could be just as useful as anything else. So yeah, we're just looking really for feedback, the good, the bad, and the ugly, what can be done better, what's going well, what's helping students, what should home bases be, really is the main question. Because I feel like, especially during the pandemic, a lot of students have really needed that support network, needed a support network, and, and help navigating certain things that would have been typical for an on-campus experience, if we had been in person, especially with the first year experience, things like Brett was saying, there's, pushing people towards student government, that's a first year experience thing. You don't know much about the school when you're first coming in, and knowing that there's student government and, oh, I can join, and that kind of thing is important. Having those support networks is important, but if people don't even know what it is, that's also not going to be super useful, because it's supposed to be a support network for people. So yeah, kind of just looking for feedback, what could be better, what could be improved upon.
Brett, am I allowed to comment? I think the main issue would be accessibility, because personally, I also haven't heard of home bases. I am also not signed up for a home base. When I attended, they told me that I should put my major as like transfer, when I still have a theater arts focus. And if I knew about, this home base, I would have definitely been in it, and I would have met with one of those counselors every other semester or so. I think there's definitely a way that they can get that information out to students. either through the school or, through emails, through newsletters. I think it's like they have to let people know they're there, and then the system will start, working for itself when people know it's there. Like with Dominique, she didn't even know that that's what she was getting. She thought she was just getting, notifications everyone else was getting. Not even, oh, look at all these resources that come with the home base. So I can see why there's not a lot of people like speaking up. They're like, I don't know what that is.
For sure. Yeah, that's really helpful.
Do you think you need anything else?
Just if nobody else wants to say anything.
Does anyone else have any last comments on item 10.1?
Sure.
Recognized.
I know I'm like part of like the public, but can I make a comment?
Yes.
All right, thank you. What about like the faculty? Because like for Sierra College, like they have faculty that help share that information with students. They show like a video of how when like the syllabus, but they also have like an introduction video sometimes, and like they show around how to work. Let's say if you're using Canvas, how to work around with that. I'm not sure where the home base is, but located, but for us, we have like a hub similar to that where we connect with counselors. We have tutors specifically for our majors. And like usually the faculty, some of them, not all of them, but some of the faculty do a great job on doing a video of how to show how students can access that help, so that was kind of useful for me.
Thank you, Ruby. I'm going to seek a motion to move this to unfinished business, to the next agenda as unfinished business, and hopefully we can have some more people chime in. Stacy, Brianna, Nick, and then maybe give the board who is here an opportunity to learn a little bit more about home base. Angie, you can take your notes that you got today back, and then you'll have some more next week.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if we're going to be discussing, because we are having a meeting on Tuesday. So I'm not sure if we're going to be continuing to discuss that after that time. But I think that it still could be a really useful conversation for us to have to continue to talk about it.
So do you want a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move this to unfinished business.
Second.
Motioned and seconded, moving to item 10.1 to unfinished business for next week. Seeking a motion for item 10.2, SSCCC DSPS Community Resolution Sponsorship, Sacramento City College student Olivia Garcia Godos Martinez and Sierra College student Ruby Chavez are seeking sponsorship from student body associations within the LRCCD for a SSCCC General Assembly resolution in support of community college students with disabilities.
I make a motion to discuss item 10.2.
Second.
Motioned and seconded. Angie, you started us off. Oh wait, no, sorry. Olivia and Ruby, if you'd like to go ahead, you're more than welcome.
All right. Do we share the screen or how does this work? I'm sorry.
But would they share their screen? Do I have to give them permissions to share it?
I mean, if you have access to the document, then you can feel free to share it if you like.
I might have the document. I don't know if Stacy gave it to me. Do you? Let's see. Oh, there you go.
Okay, I'm gonna screen share it for you guys, okay?
Thank you. Also, Olivia, I just want to ask, am I presenting or are you presenting?
You can present.
All right. So, Olivia, I collaborated with Olivia on this. This is more of what she wanted to see in colleges, which I was their support and helping her. So, all right, so let me start reading it. So, whereas a report done by the Legislative Analyst's Office in 2013 showed that about 1 in 10 California K-12 students receive special education services, whereas a report done by the National Center for Education Statistics showed that 19% of 2015 to 2016 post-secondary educated graduates reported having a disability, whereas California community colleges do not fall under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, therefore are not required to provide any support and services similar to IEPs, whereas disability support programs and services at California community colleges can be insufficient to some of the students that need more individualized support. Resolved, the Student Senate for California community colleges will advocate for the continuation of or creation of individualized education plans, IEPs, after high school. Resolved, the Student Senate for California community colleges will advocate for colleges disabled students programs and services office to work with medical specialists and the student's parents with permission from the student when creating an IEP. And finally, resolved, the Student Senate for California community colleges will advocate for colleges to take responsibility in handling the cost of any services the student needs in their college IEP. So would you like for me to kind of further elaborate or give some background on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know it's kind of a lot of words, but basically Olivia pointed out something where K through 12 schools, they have IEPs, which basically for students that who would fall under the SPS would receive kind of more of like an individualized plan on how to go through school, instead of having to receive like some of the cookie cutter like disability services that you have in college, where college makes it accessible, but doesn't make it kind of easier for students to go through college. It just makes it accessible. If they need special things for the computer, they would give them access to them, but it doesn't really make it easier for them to go through the work. So and let me see. And I checked, like I even checked like the government website to see if there's any reference to having individualized education plans in college. There is none. All the support gets dropped once the student graduates high school or they turn 21 or 22. So all the support that the school might have been paying and helping and all the plan they had, it would just be dropped. So we thought that it would be great to have that for those who have IEPs, to continue having that support, the same support, so they don't have to feel like they have to start all over in receiving those services, or the progress that they made, they don't feel like they have to start all over. And those students who did not benefit from IEPs are able to create one now, because sometimes schools do not want to pay for the services for the SPS students. So they kind of avoid talking about IEPs because they don't feel like paying for it. So those students who did not benefit from this kind of individualized, more specialized for themselves, they won't benefit for that. They would just miss out on the opportunity. And they will only start receiving services like in college, but it's kind of different if they wanted something pretty long term. So yeah. Do we have any questions about this? I'd just like to ask. We also appreciate any feedback on what we were working on.
I can also talk about this if you don't mind, Ruby.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I actually have personal experience with this, being a student who just got diagnosed with a disability, autism. At 22, I don't have an IEP. I never had the experience of an IEP. So having one in college would be great for not only me, but also other students who have disabilities that need more of that specialized plan that includes things that not just the college has, because lots of colleges do have like specialized accommodations, but they need more specialized than what the colleges offer. So with this plan, with this resolution, more students will be able to continue with the IEP from high school and also have a new one that includes the medical specialist and even the parents in the IEP planning. Thank you. Any questions or discussion around this?
I have a question.
Hi. I think this is really great. I just wanted to know, like, what besides like having, is this is the independent patient only thing that'll be impacted if it gets passed, or is it going to impact because I was having this conversation with a professor that it's really hard for them to get like access to like proper subtitles for lectures that are online, and so I was just thinking how that like disability accessibility problems. So will this affect something like that?
Dominique,
sorry.
you're cutting in and out. Do you think you could type that or give us?
Oh, sorry, my internet's bad in this room. Yeah, I was just asking how, because I've had a conversation with a professor that they had a hard time accessing subtitles for their lectures that are posted on Canvas, and I was wondering if since that's like a disability accessibility issue for the professors to teach their students, then like will this impact issues like those, or is it only going to impact? I'm not really sure like what it. I don't have familiarity with it. The IEP, so I'm not really sure like title students, but it sounds great.
Oh, no, that's all right. Yeah, so that's more of an accessibility issue. So kind of like the examples of what I said, that colleges should, I mean, they should be able to make things more accessible, but not give more kind of like individualized, specialized support to students. So that's kind of one of the examples of accessibility. And I'm sorry to hear that the professor was not able to make that happen for the course. And unfortunately, resolutions are very specific in what they want. I mean, I guess they can fall under that, but this is kind of to expand the services. And it would have, if for accessibility, I mean, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Olivia, I believe SSCCC did make a resolution a while ago about having colleges and provide more accessibility. Whether it was like for example, one of the first things that come to mind is probably like wheelchair accessibility, to go to buildings. So that's just another one. But I believe colleges should be able to provide that. But yeah, I hope I answered your question. If not, I can go kind of further.
Did that answer your question, Dominique?
Yeah. Thanks.
Just for clarification's sake, when you are asking us to approve this, what is it that we're doing directly? What is it that this board is doing for you guys?
Oh yeah, for sure. So SSCCC, apparently we did not know this, but we just found out recently that SSCCC requires colleges to for people who are creating resolutions to seek sponsorship from colleges, or student senates, student governments, you know, associate bodies. So we were just seeing if colleges would like to sponsor this resolution. So like the motion would probably be like, I move to sponsor this, or I don't move to sponsor this, you know, something, depending on what you all choose. So yeah, it needs to be reflected in the minutes. If we do sponsor it, that the board, or the board sponsors the resolution. So it can be sent to SSCCC and possibly be presented to in General Assembly.
You raising your hand, Brett?
Just a quick clarifying question for our presenters today. What do you know when the deadline is for submission for resolutions? I can't remember.
Right, it's the 13th.
Of March?
This month, or like this
Okay.
Sunday.
Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cherry, if you don't mind, just real quick. Typically, I advise boards to have a week to review a resolution and prep for it.
Right.
It just gives them time to do their own homework and research, because I believe this is the first time the board is seeing this. So, but that won't align with the deadline. So we're in quite the predicament. But you, correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a while since I've done resolutions at GA. You don't need other campuses' support to submit, right? But you're garnering support as you're submitting the resolution, right?
Like yesterday, Sierra College did sponsor it, and we did reassure them. I know they had also questions about this too. We reassured them that it's not going to look like, it's probably not going to look like this in the end. Like we're going to have to show it and present it again, and amend it. So my advisor says it's probably going to look like some Frankenstein resolution in the end, because it's just kind of almost like a draft, like the first draft, because everybody has to resubmit it again and later towards March. So yeah.
Yeah, because at General Assembly, oh, sorry, Chair. At General Assembly, yeah, any campus can make an amendment to this resolution, right, and change everything. So you're right on that. Okay, so with the deadline Sunday, I will let the board decide what they want to do. I just typically want to give board members time to review it. But you know, I'll waive that if the board's comfortable with that, just to meet Sunday's deadline.
I totally respect the decision. I totally respect what you're saying. Yeah, like again, I'll leave it up to you all, of course, of what you decide to do.
Any members of the board feel one way or the other about having more time? Mark, I know you have a lot of experience in this area. Do you think that this is something we should look over? Do you think this is something we could look over now?
Chair.
Recognize.
Just my opinion is I think this is something that the whole board needs to look over before making a final decision or a spare of the moment decision to support the resolution. I'm not against, not supporting it. So I just think it'd be fair to have some more feedback. If I know the deadline is when they said, is it this Sunday or next Sunday?
Unfortunately, yeah. I wish it was next week.
Yeah, so if the deadline is this Sunday, then I mean we kind of have to go off of what acting members of the board we have now. So in order, because otherwise we're not going to make a decision. If we postpone it, we're not going to be able to support or not support it. So as you as acting chair, it's basically leads up to you.
Brett, are we allowed to have a vote where we can decide, do we want to vote on it, or do we want to?
Anyone can make the motion to either not support the bill, or move to unfinished business, or it's up in the air.
What would be the this is for Ruby, what would be the downsides of not having us specifically on it on the 13th? Like,
well, technically, I emailed, I know I have some other colleges I emailed, a bunch of them actually. And I do have some that I want to meet with after the deadline. Though we needed it before the deadline, Sierra College already submitted their sponsorship for it. So we just only needed one college to sponsor it. But I still would like colleges to look over it, because we appreciate any feedback, any, deeper questions as to this resolution. So to be honest with you, there is no downside. You can feel free to look this over after the deadline and take your time on it. So yeah. I'm sorry, I'm speaking out for myself, but I mean, what do you think, Olivia? What in your opinion, since this is kind of your resolution?
Having more sponsorship is really good. I feel like for resolution, but if you guys need more time, and even though the date will pass, if you guys still want to look at this and decide to sponsor or not, then we could I think we can still turn it into SSCCC after.
is there any motion to start a vote?
Chair.
Recognized.
I think that just because we have like a huge chunk of our group that isn't here today, I think we should maybe postpone this. Can I make a motion to postpone this discussion to next week?
Motion made.
Second.
With the motion made and seconded, we are going to vote on moving it to unfinished business for next week. Is this one we would vote on, Brett?
Chair.
Recognize Mark.
No, so if you're gonna just move it on to unfinished business, we don't need to take a vote. If a motion has been made and seconded, there's no need to take a vote to move it to unfinished business. Whether we support it or not, it'll still be at the GA Center to be discussed. So like I said, if we support the resolution with our support or not, any resolutions that are submitted to GA will get discussed. So it's entirely up to the board, but if a motion's already been made and seconded, then we just need to just go ahead and postpone this until next week unfinished business. We can still offer support once the rest of the board has had a chance to look at it, then they can vote to support it or not.
Okay.
Chair.
Recognized.
So you all made the motion for it to be on unfinished business, right? You'll discuss on the 25th. A parliamentary procedure teaching moment here. When motions are made and seconded, if say someone did not want to chair or table it to next week, you can object to the motion. And then from there, that's when you have to do the vote on the roll call vote. So What's that?
The chair objects to a motion?
That's a great question. Gosh, it's been so long. I think so, yes. I'd have to double check my parliamentary procedure book over here, but typically I would advise the chair not to, but you could. But that's how sometimes you can have those discussions. But anyway, that's a parliamentary procedure discussion, not so much about this specific issue. So teachable moment there.
Right, and you said the 25th. Are we not having a meeting on the 18th?
It's a holiday. I will be on a beach. I will not be attending next week's meeting.
So this is great news to me. Was someone speaking? No? Okay. All right, with that, we're going to move to item 11, committee reports. Assignments reserved for committee chairs to provide the board with a brief report on the current standing of active committees. Were there any active committees who had anything to say? Keep us updated. Right, looks like we got nothing. Moving on to item 12, board member reports and announcements. This time is reserved for board members to inform the board about relevant campus-wide events and to report any pertinent committee progress / activities. A time of 3 minutes per report shall be observed. Does anyone have any board member reports?
Chair.
Recognized.
As previously stated by Brett, February 24th, we'll be having our club day. So super excited about that. No, that was about it. Yeah, so February 24th, we'll be having a virtual club day. I'll be sending out an email with the link. And hopefully with the return of the campus going to normal operations on March, we'll be doing an on-ground club day. So trying to keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that's about it for clubs and events board announcements.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else with a board member report or announcement?
Sure.
Recognized.
Real STEM Coalition is having the first meeting today. We are going to be discussing the semester and our potential plans for maybe if we can go back onto campus. And yeah, the meeting's at 1. Just give me 2 seconds and I'll get you guys the flyer.
Is that that's a Zoom meeting?
Yes, our first meeting will be on Zoom, but depending on how the campus turns out or how, like, if we stay in person, then it will be, we will start to have meetings in person. Let me just get that flyer with this, with the Zoom link.
Thank you, Brett. The reminder of the holidays. Was there any other board member reports or announcements? I know we're still waiting for the flyer, but once it pops up in chat, I will acknowledge it.
Yeah, sorry, give me a second. I'm on my MacBook right now. I don't know why it's not letting me send the file. I'm normally on a PC right now. Give me a second, sorry. There it is.
There we go. Thank you, Nathan. Last call for any board member reports or announcements. All right, with that, we move on to public comment. This time reserved for members of the public to address the ASB Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extended discussion of any items not already on the agenda. The ASB Senate may briefly respond to statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact the ASB president for Senate item discussion to be placed on a future agenda. Is there any public comment? All right, moving on to adjournment. I need a vote on this one, right? Or a motion?
You just say no objections if there's no objections.
Objections to adjournment of the meeting? Meeting adjourned at 11:25 a.m.
Thank you. Good job.